What's up, everybody? Thanks so much for tuning in today. I'm super excited to introduce to you guys my guest. Manny Malisauskas is joining us all the way from the UK. He is an expert business coach. What I mean by that is not he's just good at what he does, but he helps expert businesses, coaches, consultants to really just make more money and help other people live more fulfilled lives. So I'm super excited to have him on. Manny, how's it going, man?
Doing great, man. Excited to be on here.
Yeah, thank you for taking the time out of your day. I know you're super busy. Where exactly are you located again?
So I'm in a middle of nowhere, really. It's a small village called Hive, literally by the coast of Folkestone in England. So it's like the closest part to France from England.
Oh, wow. Okay, so right on that edge.
Right on the edge, yeah. Nice benefit is living by the sea, though. It's quite good.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure. Is that where you grew up, or what took you there?
So I actually grew up in Lithuania, which is East Europe. Moved to Scotland when I was about 6. Like, I didn't know a word of English. That was fun. But I learned it in school. Lived there for a good number of years, then I moved to London, and then I moved to the countryside with my girlfriend right now.
Nice, man. I like it. That's interesting that you moved from Lithuania when you were 6.
Yeah.
Right? Started learning English. It's sort of the same as me, right? So moved from South Africa when I was 6 also. So it's too funny how that happens. But nice. So like I said in the introduction, man, I gave a little bit about who you are, but why don't you just go ahead and sort of define yourself? Who would you say you are as both a person and then as your business?
Yeah, so I've always wanted to be like an entrepreneur since I can remember. And the way I started that was when I was in school. I started going to business events like every weekend, volunteering at the business events, helping out with setting everything down. And as doing that, you get to hang out with a lot of the speakers who obviously were business experts in whatever industry they were in, whether they were public speaking, trading, property, a lot of property. And you get to like kind of learn from them. So obviously they spoke to you and you went to those events, and everything they said at the events, even though it was quite similar to every single event, it was engraved in your mind by then. And then I kind of took an interest into finance. So I went into finance and then quickly realized actually this isn't necessarily the best way I can help people. Because at those events, a lot of people who were attending were actually business owners, but they were not very good at business. So they weren't good at marketing, they weren't very good at sales, and that's why they went to those events, right?
Yeah.
Whether that was to improve their learning in business. Some people even went to like property events just to kind of expand into a different like a channel or different income source. But anyway, ultimately I started seeing like these people actually need some help with business, and I had a knack of like business strategy and marketing, so kind of jumped into that, online marketing. Started taking interest in that, working on some free projects for people I knew. And then I met my business partner, George, so I started working for him in his digital marketing agency, doing like funnels and ads and all that stuff. So quickly learned a lot about online marketing. A while down the road, we just decided to partner up and start the company we have now, which is Expert Freedom. So now over the years, we've moved into kind of more consulting, coaching, when necessary, for expert business owners like coaches, consultants, online service providers who are trying to scale and grow.
Nice. Love it. Expert service providers who are trying to scale and grow. So, in theory, your ideal client, who would that be?
So our ideal client would be someone who's like online, obviously. We have a hard time working with brick and mortar businesses because they're not used to online. But someone who's like helping their own clients do a certain thing, like some of the people we've worked with, fitness coaches, for example, online fitness coaches, divorce coaches, all these ranging from like people who, there's this one guy we worked with who's quite interesting. He helped people buy businesses. He showed people how to buy businesses, which was quite an interesting offer, and he did really well from that. So we help those kind of people who basically have an education sort of offer, an info product, and they sell it to people online who want it.
Love it. And so when you say info product, are they doing a lot of one-on-one or group coaching, or are they a lot of times selling courses?
So actually, Either one really, because we noticed a problem with doing a one-on-one. It's very it's fairly scalable because obviously one-on-one requires your own time and a lot of it. So what we help most people do is kind of build out the back-end systems to help them leverage their time, even retaining the one-on-one aspect, but we help them kind of put their systems that their clients need online using, group coaching or online courses and so on. So what a lot of our clients do is actually combine all three elements, group coaching, one-on-one coaching, and online courses to make like a hybrid system of a back-end that literally is very scalable and it gives the most value to the customers.
Nice, man. I love it. And so before calling you sort of just went that direction immediately. We were talking about systems a little bit. Right? We were talking about our own. I was asking, what your client acquisition looks like. So talk to us a little bit about maybe what are you seeing in your clients? Like maybe what are these initial systems that they're missing? Or if there is like an overarching systems process that usually you guys focus on first for helping people?
Sure. So it honestly depends on where the person is at. Recently, we've been helping kind of more beginner people who are like trying to get their offers off the ground. I mean, they usually sell something and they've been selling like low ticket offers and so on, but really they've been lacking a system to sell that one high ticket offer online. So what we do with them is kind of show them the principles of selling it online at stage one, which is going on Facebook, LinkedIn, whatever platform their clients are on or their market is on, and just speaking to people on there, finding out what language their market is using, and then adapting their offer to that language so that people actually want what they have to say and want what they have to teach. So that's the kind of first system. But then with people who are more established, essentially people who've already got a validated offer and maybe they're selling like 2-3 high ticket offers a month. The next problem is the fact that they've only been focusing on marketing and sales. Like 99% of the time they're only focusing on that because that's what 99% of the experts gurus out there are teaching them. So what happens is they get the 2 or 3 clients a month, they finish their program, is great, we go through it, we get the results, but then when they try scaling and get like 10 people to go through it, the whole thing breaks because there's literally no back-end system to support that. Right? So it's kind of like a bridge without any foundations. So you might get 2 or 3 people across it, fine, the weight, the stress isn't that much. It doesn't break. But once you get a lot of people across it, the whole thing collapses, clients fall with it, and just things generally suck.
Nice. That is that's a great analogy right there, is that bridge.
Yeah.
Right. Actually helping people.
To riff a bit more on that, I don't know if we've got time, but like,
please.
Have you ever seen like an online coach or a guru? I know the guru term is used over a lot in like a demeaning language, but it's just a term I like to use anyway. It sounds fun. Like they rise to fame really quickly. They make like $100,000, get lots of clients, but then they disappear from the face of the earth a few months later. And that's precisely why, because they haven't put the systems to support that influx of growth. So then they go offline trying to like help those clients, and they just either burn themselves out, or the clients just want a refund back. So.
And that is the last thing that we want, right? We don't want to, and I think a lot of people, especially a lot of our listeners, right, they're either transitioning into a different business or they're launching their first, and that's a huge fear, right? Putting in all this upfront work, all this energy to grow, and then all of a sudden it all collapses, right? You burn out because you don't have the proper systems in place, right?
Yeah.
That's definitely what it is. So taking 2 steps back here, you said sort of the first stage, right, is helping people find who's their ideal target audience, right? You were saying find people on one platform and speak directly to them.
Yeah.
Right. Once again, it sort of goes to what we were talking about earlier, as far as like just focusing on just one channel at a time, because people tend to spread themselves too thin. I'd love to just hear sort of your thoughts on that, because like I said, people constantly think I have to be on every single little thing that I can because there's people all over the place, but they don't realize that that's actually hurting them.
Yeah, so I think actually when you said that, I just thought Gary Vee, because he tells you to like be everywhere, use all the social media platforms, record every day. I'm sure that works for him, but like look at him, he's got a digital marketing agency that works with like these major brands, his revenues, he's got a massive team as well. But what's worked best for us and what's worked best for our friends who are like growing rapidly and And what else we've seen in the industry is they just pick a platform like Facebook, LinkedIn. LinkedIn is getting a lot more popular now, but either way, you want to kind of look into one that you've got built up most. Usually it's one or the other, one where you've got the biggest network, and just really, really focus on mastering that. What I mean by that is building up your audience on there, your network, getting that clout, making yourself an authority, doing it on one platform, and like getting it right, getting it to a good level, and then consider moving to another platform if it's necessary.
You said if it's necessary, right? So how do you sort of know that? Like, is that a fact of you think it's tapped out the market, or you're not reaching who you ideally wanted to? How do you know, like, when you say transition if it's necessary?
Sure. So obviously, like, let's say you build up, an audience on Facebook, you're getting clients from there regularly, you've got a Facebook group or whatever, you've got people commenting on your posts, your engagement's on fire. So any good business owner is going to realize that they're on rented land right there. Because if Facebook doesn't like one of your posts, you get spam or you get reported too many times, your profile is just going to get shut down. And that's it. Yeah. Business is over, right?
Yeah.
Now that doesn't happen often, but it's an absolute threat, an all-too-real threat. So two things can happen. You can obviously start running ads and growing that rapidly, because obviously organic is naturally quite slower, because it's a lot harder to reach the amount of people that you can reach with ads by putting like a couple of $100 or $1,000 behind. So that's how typically like our system. Once we see people, like clients come to us who've got an established audience already on one platform or the other, an organic audience, we generally advise to run ads and like kind of scale it from there. Now, an alternative route, if you don't want to run ads for whatever reason, knows why, and you just want to do like build another audience somewhere else, then that's like you can do that obviously on another platform. Hedge yourself obviously if one of those gets closed off for one reason. Yep.
No, and so that is something great. I hope everybody heard that, because it's not something that goes through the average person's mind, is that when you are social media, right, it's a borrowed platform. It is rented space. If they want to shut you down, they can. This is actually something in my old agency. I don't know if you ever experienced this also, but when people were asking about how important is a website to have, right, or at least we'll call it just even a URL and a domain name, whether it be like a one-page landing page, a simple funnel, or a full-blown out website, I always preach to them how vitally important it is, because you can't focus on just having a business Facebook page solely, because if Facebook decides to shut you down, and now
man, it's not just that, it's like the algorithm changes as well. I'm sure people know about like the algorithm changes, especially to Facebook pages. Like their reach has just been declining because they want more and more businesses to pay for ads to show their stuff to people. And especially if you've been working on years trying to build up your like page likes, audience, whatever it is, whatever you're doing, and Facebook just decides to do something different, like all that work goes for nothing, which sucks.
Yeah, which sucks a lot. So I hope everybody hears that it is good to leverage, I'd say multiple channels for that reason, to have presence in a little bit different places, and a website can be one of those other places, right? No doubt about it. So Manny, you've been in the coaching space for a little over 3 years now, and before that, you touched on it earlier, you were partnered in a done-for-you agency, or at first you were employed, then you got partnered into it, and then you guys transitioned. I think a big difficulty for a lot of entrepreneurs, and especially I think expert business owners, right? They're usually transitioning from one thing into something else, and it can be seen as a big leap, almost a chasm, if you will. Can you just talk a little bit maybe about your experience of what the transition was like, and what it was like to get away from everything you were previously doing and everything that you knew to something entirely new, almost making that transition in business?
It was exciting, for sure, because the reason we stopped our agency work was because the stars aligned in the wrong direction, and like all the clients left, or they finished their projects in one single month. So like it wasn't like a grace period of like, all right, we lost one client and now we have some others, we can just go out and find more. It was like everything stopped and couldn't pay ourselves. Like, oh shit, what's next? So it was quite exciting to know that, okay, well, that's not going to happen again because we're changing business models and we're going into this new thing. But then reality hit fast, and it's like, all right, well, we've got these consulting clients, these kind of done with you clients, but like, all right, what do we do now? Like, how do we tell them to do something? So we tried, like, we had these 3 or 4 clients sign on in 1 month, and it was like for a 3-month program. And it, for like the first month or 2, it went okay. Like, we told them what to do, the basic stuff. We gave them like our systems worksheets on how to fill out based on where they're at, and it went well. But then like we ran out of ideas, and it's like, all right, well, they had problems that we didn't have an answer to right there and then. So we just said, okay, well, actually, we'll do it for you. So let's say one of our clients had to make a webinar. We didn't really have a system for making a webinar, so we said, all right, we'll just make the webinar for you. And that like took us back to like done for you stuff.
Yeah.
It's like, I think you were saying before we jumped on live, like, it's to try to go from something, but it takes you back to the normal, right?
Yeah. So what Manny's talking about is, it was actually a business and a mindset coach that told me this, was that our bodies are just natural beings, are inclined to shift back to our quote unquote normal, what we see as normal, right? If you're used to always waking up at 8 a.m., then all of a sudden you start waking up at 6. Before you know it, your body's going to try and make you wake up at 9 a.m. or 10 a.m. to help almost average it back out into normal. Yeah. And so the same thing can happen, that if you're in a business for a long time, if you have a service that you're providing for a long time and you try and transition, it'll pull you back to what you see as being normal, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, I'm sure there are ways of, like, especially in the topic that I'm talking about, of going from an agency to a more done with you sort of business model. I'm sure if we had like the kind of mentorship coaching that we needed at the time to do that, we would have been fine, because like would have had someone saying like, what the hell are you doing the work for clients? Like, get back out there, tell them how to do it, like this, like that, and like move on. You know, you don't have to do this, because that's not where your time is most valuable. Your time is most valuable growing a business, helping more people, not doing the work for them. So like, that's what I would have said to myself back then. I'm sure there's someone out there who would have said that to me if I knew them.
Yeah.
But yeah, basically what happened at the end was, like, we had these consulting clients and we were doing the work for them. The 3 months finished, and again we were back at square one, no clients, and it's like, all right, well, how can we make sure this doesn't happen again? But at that point we kind of built out some systems to help us, like webinar templates or stuff like that, and like training on how to make a webinar and giving them examples of what we've done, what are good converting webinars, the stuff people need to do it themselves. But again, that wasn't perfect, and we just kept kind of going left, right until we get it dead center.
Yeah. So here's a question that's it's definitely happened to me before, and so I'm curious what your thoughts are on it, right? So we're talking about systems and creating systems within our own business to make things more efficient, training videos, worksheets, right? To be able to, for an expert business, basically bring on a lot more people to consult or to coach, right? Yeah. And so that can be a lot more efficient. Now, how do you deal with the situation that if you were coaching and directing a client, but they don't have enough time, they don't have systems in place, maybe they don't even have enough revenue to be able to hire someone to actually do the things that you're coaching them to do? And the reason behind my question is almost how you guys did the webinar for someone, right? I was coaching a client on a whole sales funnel that they need to create, but they didn't feel they had the time actually to create it because they have all these other pieces of their business. How do you handle that?
Yeah, so I think that's actually one of the reasons we decided to do it for them. Was like, their complaint was like, oh, I don't have enough time to do a webinar, I need to be doing all these other things. But right, looking back at it now, like, you take a client from point A to point B, right? So point B, the goal, is the only thing that should matter to them. Everything else is secondary. So usually, like, what do they think we need to be doing? What are they like busy doing usually? It could be admin, it could could be other stuff, which is all like, it's important, but it's not in a way that it doesn't get closer to your goals, right? It just helps you maintain what you already got. And I strongly believe you should either build out the systems for that yourself, or you should hire someone to do it. And like you said, hiring, people aren't in a position to hire. But like, a decent VA on Upwork or some other platform is like, what, $10 an hour? It's not that much. Yeah. So I think it's quite easy. It's just usually a false belief that people, I need to be paying them like $4,000 a month in order to help me. Well, you don't. Not really. No. Not in this day and age.
Nice. So you're saying simply the answer is realize that what's most important to do.
Yes.
Isn't those admin stuff maybe?
Priorities. Get your priorities straight. Knowing what you need to do, but also like doing it in line with your goals. Like whatever you're doing, you should really ask yourself, is this going to move me towards my goals or not? If it's not, then it's probably not worth doing. And even if it is quite important, just like outsource it, or do it like in some free time. But when you do answer that question and you say, okay, this is actually going to move me towards my goals, then absolutely that is your priority. Nice.
It's not what you do, but it's the steps you do it and how you prioritize it, right?
Yeah, precisely.
Yep, so precisely that's almost exactly what you said to me before we started this call. So,
yeah, I've been a bit tired of that lately, because like, even myself recently, I've just found like there's so many things that I should be doing, especially as a business owner. All these emails I have to get back to my accountant, our executive assistant, all that stuff. But like, I could be doing that, or I could be focusing on higher level tasks that's going to bring me the revenue that I can just use to hire people to do that stuff for me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right. So that's what you have to prioritize.
Yeah.
Of course. Nice. And so sort of the last question that I kind of have for you is, you're talking about when you guys transitioned into the coaching space, right? You said almost if I had someone to tell me these things, or what I would tell myself. How do you know when you're ready for coaching or for a consultant to help you with your business? I come across a lot of people who think they're too early on. And so try and give a little bit of actionable advice for all of the listeners on like almost what is that barrier, maybe even just a mindset that you need to cross so that you're quote unquote ready for coaching.
Yeah, so I invite people to really consider the situation they're in. Like, if you've got a problem, you're not getting enough clients, your offer isn't good enough, your messaging isn't good enough, or whatever problem you think you have, I really invite you to look at that problem and think, okay, what's the root problem? If it's generally like, I don't know what to say to people to attract them as clients, then think, okay, what can I do to solve that? Do I know how to fix that problem? If not, find someone to help you. If you can, then do it yourself, right? But often people don't know what to do. That's why a problem is there. So yeah, if you don't know how to solve a problem, find someone who can help you.
It's more of I like to think about it as like a way to fast forward the process.
Yes.
Right?
It's like a massive catalyst for sure.
Definitely. So if you're serious about what you're doing and you're serious about finding success, then the easiest way to know if you are ready for a coach is if you are almost just ready to take it seriously. If you're ready to fast forward the process, make sure you're taking it seriously, then I think you're sort of ready, right? Find someone who's already done it instead of just going to try to do it yourself.
If you're sick and tired of living with the same problem like every single day, you're trying to solve it but you're getting nowhere, and just imagine what it's going to feel like if you just find someone like, imagine like a godly hand reaching out from the sky and just getting rid of all your problems in one swoop. That's what it's like. It just clears the path. Yeah.
That's great. I mean, I think we can sort of try and end on that right there. And so, Manny, hey man, I appreciate your time so much, and I always like to give all of my guests just an opportunity at the end, sort of a totally what's the word here I'm looking for? Either way, give like totally a plug for yourself. What are you working on? How can people get in touch with you? Please, it's your chance to help yourself, man.
Sure, man. So since we ever started, really, we've started this community of people who we just gathered into on a group on Facebook to share ideas, bounce off each other, and that's kind of grown quite I want to say quite quickly, I've seen other groups grow faster. I don't know how or why, but I mean, I'm happy with the growth we've had. I think we're at about 1,300 members. It's called a Tribe of Experts group on Facebook, completely free to join. And basically in there, we just share from some of the highest level strategies that apply to only businesses that are doing like 100K a month, to tactics and strategies that apply to newbies, people who are starting up in business, who just need to get their first client. We share on how to do that as well. So it's pretty awesome. I think anyone really listening to this, if you've got a business of any kind, you'd benefit from the stuff we share in there. Absolutely.
Nice. So Facebook groups, Tribe of Experts, and then what about connecting with you personally? Is there anywhere you want to steer them towards? Is it Facebook as well?
Yeah, Facebook. That's where I'm on.
Beauty. Guys, we'll be sure to link it down below to both Tribe of Experts and to Manny's Facebook, so you guys can connect with him, get all of his expertise. And so, man, just want to thank you again, man. I really appreciate your time. It's been an absolute pleasure.
It's been amazing being on here.
Good. I'm glad to hear it. So we'll talk to you here real soon.